and welcome to our coverage of the Rabat Diamond League. And of course, we will start with the women's 400-meter hurdles, and two Jamaicans will be up against Fenke Ball, Anjanette Knight, and Rochelle Clayton. Those are the two Jamaicans that will go up against Fenke Ball in this women's hurdles. Who will it be? So you're following the action, you're tuning to our watch along here on Track Alerts, and it's going to be an interesting afternoon of track and field. And of course, as I said, this is the Rabat Diamond League. And we have Coach Vaughn who is going to join us, and we're going to go through it together. Welcome, sir. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I hope you can hear
Great,
me loud.
great. Yep, yes, man. You know,
All right.
thanks for joining. We have an interesting, athletes going on their mark. Fenke Ball, of course, is the one to beat in this one.
All right. Let me see. Let me see if we catch up. Okay, because I'm still seeing on my feeds, I'm still seeing like the lineup, but I could see on your split screen that you have the race.
Hmm.
That's just a graphic.
Yeah, that's just a graphic. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, they're on the screen for me right now.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So the
Man.
athletes, well, they're off and running, and on the back stretch, let's see, Fenke Ball is leading as expected. Um, Based on the stagger, Rochelle Clayton of Jamaica may be in about fourth. Anjanette Knight seems to be second. Athletes turn into the home straight away. Fenke Ball with a big lead, as expected, being chased by Anjanette Knight and Rochelle Clayton in third. Fenke Ball is going to take this one by about 5, 6, 7 meters ahead of Anjanette Knight. Rochelle Clayton just edged out for fourth. Let's wait and see what the time is. The meeting record is 52:46, and that time is equal. It's a new meeting record for Fenke Ball.
Wow.
Yes, and of course this was expected though.
Yeah, I mean, Fenke look very relaxed in this one race. The competition seems to not be at the same level in terms of their training and preparation for the World Champs this year. But I mean, they look all right. But Femke looks pretty good. I think the only one who could be next to her would be Sydney in this race. But everybody else looked like it's just that's probably just their first or second race. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
Femke looked like she's been doing some work though. Form looked pretty good, nice and neat, down the straightaway, no pressure. Anjanette Knight got the 53.90 for the season's best. And Florenzo got 54.74 with Clayton, 54.83 with the season's best, but both with the meet record 52.46. I
Hmm.
think I'm about 50 seconds behind you though, but it's probably good because you give the report and then they
And then by time you
I catch up.
you
I
yeah,
see the
you
result.
catch up with, yeah,
Yeah, but the
you
field
know.
is very strung out. Um, I mean, should we be worried about Rochelle at this time of season because she has a bronze already from the world champs? Should we be worried about her form
Hmm.
coming up? Finishing behind Anjanette Knight as well.
And we
That's the
see action now on the screen. The men's shot put is on screen, and I can see the Jamaican um getting ready. I don't know how far he is from making his throw, but you know, he was just shown in the background there.
Mhm.
Um, Not sure how far. And we're talking about the Jamaican Campbell, who started the year very well, and will, I'm sure, will be looking for another medal this year again at the World Championships.
I mean, one of the things with Rajindra, I think he's the one that the NFL teams wanted to try him out. What was that him?
No, no, it was the
Ah,
discus thrower. Trying to remember his name, but it's not
yeah.
Campbell.
All right. No, man, it look all right, man. I don't see it right now because right now on my feed I'm seeing is that Ryan Krause? It looks like
Yeah,
talking.
Ryan Krause and Kovacs. Kovacs is the one throwing now on
Mhm.
my screen, and before him was Krause.
Okay.
And we'll all remember that that same gentleman you're talking about that the NFL teams want to try out. He's also been coached by Ryan Krause.
Is that right? Is
Hmm.
it that is kind of interesting though in a sport where two athletes would technically be competing against each other for different countries. One is your coach or represents the other country, and you still work together. You
Hmm.
think that's kind of weird in the sport?
And maybe because Krause is known as a not known, but Krause as a shot putter compared to the
The-
Jamaican we are referring to, and I am hoping that I'm sure our viewers is going to put on screen very quickly and tell us the name of of the Jamaican we're trying to. And
uh,
the Jamaican is up now, Campbell. Let's see what he has. Okay, so he's over the 20-meter mark.
it's pretty good. Let's see how far over. Roger Stoner. That's what we're thinking of.
Roger Stoner, man
Yeah,
from St. Jago.
yeah. And he had a surprise win.
21:39 for Campbell on that throw.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I'm not seeing the live results. Where would that put him right now in the results? Is that the first throw, second throw? Where they at in that?
That I will tell you in a bit
All right, I'm gonna try to pull it up in
where
the too.
that is. But again, we have to, you know, um, thank our viewers is being here with us, and as much as I do that our viewers mean so much to us,
Mhm.
and they have not left us whenever time we're having these kind of coverage.
Yeah, I remember you went from like two viewers, man. That you
Yes,
you've been
yes,
at it, man.
you know,
But that's how you got to stick to it, man. You can't
yeah,
just jump out of it, and
yeah.
stay consistent. People come back to the site, check out the results, check out the articles. I mean, that was some fun stuff, Bridget.
So I'm actually trying to, as you would see now, I'm trying to get the background change. We started off a bit late, but that is how it goes sometimes. And I'm having a little bit of technical issues from my end
Hmm.
with getting the results updated. But I promise that I'm working on that to get it fixed. Um,
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the. I saw one set of events complete, the shot put men. So I'm trying to pull it up, but it's not showing. And then when I go back, because it looks like the results are taking a little time to
Yes, and they're having some issues with the they're having some issues with the results page from the
Mhm.
last event. Um, on screen now, the the men's 100 meters seems to be lining up.
All right.
And before we, of course, there's no Jamaican in this one. Tibogo is the man to beat. And of course, Omaniala and Simbini. So this should be a very good feel. Hicklin from the US is also there.
Mm-hmm.
Omaniala on their screen just now. Oh, Fred is here too. Just remember that Fred,
Fred Kearney
who
made
is
it.
on, yes, Fred is here. Fred is on suspension from the Grand Slam track. They put out a release that Fred is on suspension.
I mean, he did have that legal situation
Yes.
right before the night before down in Miramar. I heard that the incident happened in Miami Beach. There was a little thing going on, and it doesn't. To where the news reported it, it wasn't as bad as it looked, from what I heard from the eyewitness. And he was giving me a little bit about it, and it just seems like they just didn't like what Fred said, and they took him in. But nonetheless, that definitely impacted his ability to be at the meet. And I guess if you miss the meet, a part of your contract is that they could take some kind of action against you to not come.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Sad to see, because I like to see Fred run.
Yeah. And just quickly, that's the result on your screen now for the women's 400-meter hurdles, where you have Fenke Ball 52.46, Anjanette Knight 53.90.
Mhm.
And those were the top two. The other Jamaicans, Rachel Clayton was in fourth in 54.83.
Mhm. All right, so I don't know if the 100 are starting your screen, but we still have one more lane to run to introduce on my screen.
Well, we're
But
just introducing the final lane.
all right, so Simbini did a good job the other day running down at the World. It was the World Relays or the Continental, and no World Relays for South
World
Africa.
relays.
And then we have Omanyala, who's been running well as well, but he ran past Hicklin. How do you think that's going to be in this race? Who do you give this race to?
Sibini is on form. And they would normally say this time of the year, is when it's going to be hard to beat Sibini.
Mhm.
You spoke about his performance at the World Relays, and even after that, I think it was after that, he beat Kishane Thompson, and
Mhm.
he came out on top two at the Adidas Atlanta City Games
Right.
2 weekends ago. Was it 2 weekends? No, it wasn't 2 weekends ago. It was last weekend, last Saturday. And Omaniala also won there as well. Remember, this one athletes would have run the 150, the 200, and the 100. So athletes are off. Sibini with the best start. Omaniala is up there. Oh, Tibogo is left for dead. Tibogo is left for dead. And as Otto Bolden would have put it, dead last.
All right. So
So
let's
he never.
had a chance.
So this one, no chance at all. And apparently, it looks as if he was just going through the motion.
Mhm.
Is it Omaniala or is it Simbini? Simbini 9.95, Omaniala 10.05. Those were your top three so far.
Oh yeah, I'm
So
watching it right now, and Tebogo definitely didn't even look like he was trying. He looked like he was doing a run through,
yes, hmm
But the race was up definitely up front in the middle. Looked like Simbine. Good wind, zero point 0.6. So that's a legal wind. So whatever time you
hmm
run, that's a legal wind. Not the meet record, just shy of it by what, zero point 0.01. Omanyala, a little distant behind at 10.05 with Curly 10.07 coming off that. Interestingly, Curly always likes to run in black in these meets. I don't know what's up with that guy.
And well, Curly had lost his sponsorship. I think it was last year.
The what, the ace?
Yes, and I don't know if he has a new company or he's still searching for a new company.
Mm-hmm.
But the news here is that Tibogo just did not look himself, and maybe, as we said, he was just going through the motion. And the Jamaican again, Campbell, is on your screen for another put.
Mm-hmm. I saw that Curly ran a meet recently, and the results came with him saying Sharks, like it's a club named SHARKS. I didn't get a chance to research that, but I'm always interested because he went from one company to the next company, and now he's in all black,
So
unattached
there,
athlete of his
and
ability. You know what I'm saying?
mhm. And this seems to be a bigger throw. Just on that, seems to be on that 22 mark, just
Mm-hmm.
about there for Campbell, and he just shied off that 22 mark. So so he was he so the mark given now is
Mm-hmm.
21.95.
Nice, knocking on that 22. Got a
So
valid attempt.
so he's leading now. He's leading.
Ooh, nice. That's a good spin move. The good one thing I like with this form just now, he never stuttered right before the release. It was a smooth two steps around, and then the release was just like perfect.
Hmm.
So that 21.95 jumps him up with a world lead. He equals the world lead right now at 21.95. Otterdal and Kovacs are falling behind in second and third. They're the final three. So I think the final three get another shot at some distances, and then they get a chance to do probably one or two more throws. The way the rules are set up
Hmm.
at the Diamond League, so we'll see. And I think the leader in this one goes first, whereas in other meets the leader goes last.
Hmm.
So let's see how things shake up. Because I'm watching it now. You know, I'm a couple seconds behind you, like 50 seconds behind you. All right, let's see what he's got on my screen. He's getting ready for the shot. His arm is out. Nice power position. Swings around nice. It goes up high. Let's see what he's done. Misses the 22 mark on that one, but it's a valid attempt. And here we go. Waiting to see what it is. 21.58 was that last throw.
21.58.
Yeah. Sometimes when you throw a big throw like that, it kind of takes out a little bit out of you for the next one.
Yes, definitely. Definitely, it's going to take out a little bit.
All right, so let's see what Otterdal has. Peyton, his season best 2183. Woo! His put hit the white tape, but let's see what it officially says. It's a valid attempt. Start there. He has a 2183 so far. This one is registered at 2197.
Woo. So that's a lead now.
That's the world lead now. Two world leads that changed in one meet.
Hmm.
I know what Kovacs has. I think Kovacs has as an attempt to do. He's coming in with 21.58 for his season's best so far. I tell you, watching the shot put and a disc up front in person and watching the footwork, it's not as easy as it looks, man. And
Yeah,
Kovacs
okay.
the whole time, no missed throws. There you go. Oh no, he didn't even take that one. He just walked in front to get the foul instead of getting a mark registered. Woo! Nice. Yeah. Don't even make no sense. Don't even waste your time to measure that. That's what he's saying. So Ardadal 21.97 with royal lead. Campbell with a season's best 21.95. And Kovacs at 21.58.
And of course, let us try and see if we can jump into some of these comments. We can't leave out our viewers. You
Yes.
know, can you start the live? We are doing our live. If you're asking us if we are able to show it, no, we can't show it. Start the live for me, please and thank you. We just cannot show the event. What we're having is a watch along,
Correct.
right? You know,
There's legalities to show it live.
where are you on what station? If you're in
Yeah.
the US, it's going to be on Flow Track. If you are in the US, if you're in the Caribbean, it's going to be on Rush Sports in the Caribbean. You know, her fastest ever season opener this season, and I think all in the game is saying that for Fenke Ball.
Mm.
You know, we want to see the races again. We cannot show the races. We cannot. You know, Fenke's previous fastest opener, 53.07. Huge 52.46 opener for her. It's going to be a very big year Fenke Ball again. And as I told you, um, I know somebody was going to give us a name that we were trying to remember.
Yeah, we see
And
it.
the event lining up now on track seems to be the men's 800 meters. You know what channel you guys? I'm watching it on YouTube. But if you're watching it on YouTube, you're going to need a
A paid account.
VPN to watch it on YouTube. Beautiful stadium, very very beautiful stadium indeed. All in the game. You know,
I'm
yes,
watching from
Fenke
home.
Ball is done. You know, so sorry I missed some of these comments earlier. King, Curly, Tibogo are Dublin. Oh, Tibogo Dublin, and maybe that's why Tibogo didn't go outright. Objectivity all in the game. He's saying, I thought that might be when you got the name. So keep sending in your comments, and of course, we will try to read as many of these comments as possible and share them on the screen for those who don't, who would have never seen it, would have seen it now. Sibini in South Africa are very proud. I'm very proud of you. You are amazing. Thank you very much for your comment and for showing respect to Sibini. And as we said, the very, very beautiful stadium. And again, that's what the stadium looks like in your background. Again, thanks for all those who would have joined us for, or continue to join us every week for our coverage here on Track Alerts TV on YouTube.
Yes, I want to say shout out to Lennox Logan right now in the comment section. Big up yourself. It's been a minute, bro. Glad to see you, man. Yeah, I look rich. Don't let the look fool you. I just looking rich, but I'll take it. All right. So the new standard, Anthony, seems to be in the 800, 143 to run these races to be anywhere close. Do you think anybody has a chance of getting close to Radisha's record in the next couple of years?
Oh, that's that's a big one because I remember the days. I remember those days, and we were like expecting a world record every time Rhodesia would
Right.
have stepped on the track.
Hmm.
He really brought a different level to this game. And if any one of those records will be broken, wow,
Hmm.
maybe I'm sure. I'm sure someone will have to step up in another year
Hmm.
or two. Who knows what's going to happen this year? Because this event seems to be very competitive now, though.
Yeah, I'm surprised seeing guys running 143 and finishing like fourth in some of the meets along the way. I'm like, how do you run 143 and finish fourth? Even the college ranks here in the U.S., I'm seeing sometimes which are I would have thought to be ridiculous years ago. But the Rabbit just dropped out, did a 49.9 on the Open 400. But let's see what it go. 116 at the 600 mark. That's a low 140 something pace. And I know the race is probably done on your side, but I know in the background you're doing like crazy editing. The man of many talents, but he's
Yes.
coming down the straightaway
Yeah.
and
So the
looks,
race is. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, coming down to the straightaway in the 800 meters, nice and easy. 142.69, a new world lead in the 800 meters. That is Masalera, trying to pronounce his name. I didn't quite get the pronunciation, but I'm gonna listen to it in the backdrop.
And he won the last Diamond League too.
Yeah,
He won the last Diamond League was where Shanghai,
Shanghai, I believe, and Masalela. That's his name. Masalela.
Masalela.
142.70. Then Bergen from Great Britain, 143.34 with Wanyonye, 143.37. Season's best, but Bergen had a personal best with his second place run for Great Britain.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Botswana in the chat room right now, Anthony. You got a Botswana in there.
Yeah. Nice to have someone from Botswana. And of course, their superstar is, well, he just ran the 100 and he's coming back for the 200. That's his first love.
Yeah, he looked a little flat in the 100, but still.
Yeah, he was just out
Um,
of it in that 100, man.
mhm. All right, so let me see if I could get these. Oh, I think it was Doha was the last one. Doha was the last one.
Doha, yes.
Just
Doha.
pulling it here. Live in Rabat. I'm trying to. All right, I see some results on my screen, but I'm trying to see if it actually shows up. All right, yes, it does show up. Does show up this time.
You're looking for the men's 800?
Yeah, I'm gonna look for it now.
I'm actually uploading that now to put it on your screen.
All right.
Well, that's not the entire
St-
800 meters result, though.
It still says unofficial here, but I'll take a stab at it and go through it. The Patrick was the from Poland was the rabbit coming through at 49.99. Then he dropped out at about 580 meters. But let's see. Masalela is a meet record world lead and a personal best 142.70. He picked up 16 points. Uh, from Great Britain, Max Bergen 143.34 for second. He has 7 quality points. And then we have Wanyoni 143.37, a season's best. He has 6 points on there. And he was coming from a season's best of 146.44. We have Brandon Miller from the USA, 143.52, a personal best for him as well. And fifth place, Hangura from Botswana. Shouts to Botswana again. Botswana first and fifth in that race with 143.82. And round at the top six from Kenya, Kin Yamal, 144.63. 9 quality points picking up right there for himself right there.
And they can see other action on the infield, the women's javelin, the men's high jump. I'm I'm thinking that the men's shot put should have been finished by now. You know,
All right, let me double check
you know,
on that while you do.
Botswana. You
So the
know,
men,
nice to have you people from Botswana to join us to discuss. You know, share with us, tell us some of the things happening in Botswana.
Mhm.
What are the development of Botswanan athletes? You know, is there anyone else in Botswana we should look out for? What time is Sherika's race? This is someone asking, and Sherika's race is 2:35 US time on the
About two.
East Coast,
Mhm.
1:35 Jamaican time, and if it will be 2:35 Eastern Caribbean time. So that race should be coming up as we speak. So again, share with us what are the developments. We have quite a few persons watching from Botswana. Share with us some of the development, some of the things going on in Botswana. You know, thank you very much, Lennox. You know, so we have quite a few people from Botswana. Really nice to have you. You know, watching, whether you are watching from Botswana or wherever in the world you are watching from, but you are supporting Botswana. We're really, really glad to have you with us. And if you are joining for the first time, please subscribe to our page. We do this, we do live stream, we do race videos, we have interviews. Subscribe to our page, like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. The women's 100-meter runners are now being introduced.
Mhm.
This is Barnes of the US. Sturgis of the US was earlier in lane 3. Rizzo, who beat Shakari Richardson, um,
Couple weeks ago,
not couple of weeks ago, it was last week.
last week.
Sherika Jackson now being introduced. She'll
Is
be
it me or
running out of lane 5.
does Shakira look like she lost a little weight in from
She
observation?
looks so. She looks so. Zoe Hobbs is outside in the outside lane to Sherika. McCoy would be in lane 7. You know, so those are the big ones. Well, not referring to all the way in lane 7, but um, you know, look out for, of course, Rizzo, who beat Shakari last weekend, and look out for Sturgis, who was a winner. Was she a winner at the Adidas Atlanta City Games last weekend? But Sturgis, Barnes, Jackson,
But I don't know. But
Zohabs, and Rizzo. And Rizzo would have, well, Rizzo actually ran 11.3 to beat TT Terry and Shakari Richardson.
yeah, she beat them all. Um, because I believe Shelly was third, Shakira was fourth. Don't remember who was second. Rizzo got the win. Which was kind of a surprise to me, to be honest.
I think TT Terry was second
TT
and
Terry
Shakari was fourth.
fourth, right? So, but Jackson, I think a couple days ago, didn't look so good in that 200 with Julian.
No, no. And she didn't look good in that on that anchor leg of that 4x1 at the World Relays.
Nor in Miramar when she had that opener in
Hmm.
that 300 and in that 4x1. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here in this
But the
100.
athletes are on their mark.
Yeah,
They're sent on their way. And of course, Sherika Jackson now is into her running. And she seems to be running relaxed. And she takes it. Sherika
Jack,
Jackson takes this one in a flash time 11:04.
interesting.
And you can see that she is Still not in, look serious look on her face, no smiles yet. 1104 for Sharika.
Hmm.
Look serious as a judge, as they would say. And she didn't put much in it. Like she was just going through the motion, which shows that
Okay.
she may not be doing that bad because
Yeah,
the field, she came up on the field just about the 50, 60 meter mark, and then that's when it seems as if she started to put a little more in it. You should be
yeah,
seeing it now.
yeah. I just saw it. She looked very workmanlike. She wasn't really playing around, but not overdoing it. I would say that in the race as well. The race seems very controlled. The wind is legal, zero point 0.2, so the time is legit, 11.04. And the other thing I noticed, the I didn't see the tape on the left leg today,
Yes.
but very workmanlike, 11.0. Yeah, no, the race was smooth as far as I'm concerned for Sherika. And she may just be working herself into form because Jamaica has their championships in June, but the world champs isn't until September.
Mm-hmm.
So are the Jamaican athletes trying to be a little bit cautious in when they release, when they sharpen up? Is that hopefully that's what the management's doing? Because it would be crazy to like be running 10.9s all day, 10.8s right now, but you still have to go all the way to September when it really counts. So a season's best for Sherika, 11.04. McCoy second, 11.08. Sears 11.11 on the season's best. So shout out to everyone running that season's best. So as the season's best go on, it shows that they're progressing during the season. They're
Yes.
going
Yes.
from A to B to C, and then when it really matters, that's when you're going to really see something special with some more meat records. Shouts to Jamaicans in the house. We also got Kenya in the house. Let's see. Help me watch the channel I can watch. Or you can watch it on Flow Track, or you can watch it on YouTube from the Diamond League's site itself. And you got to check your local listings. Just talking to your what I call this, talking into your remote, and sometimes I forget the names of these things. Just talking to your remote and say, "Hey, Rabat," and see what happens. Stephen Francis, all in the game, says Stephen Francis insisted on having trials on last weekend of June when every other country in the world is having their trials on the first weekend of August. Don't know who insisted on what, but this might be a challenge for some of the athletes and coaches in Jamaica. Why would Stephen push that? I'm not sure. Yeah, Sir Toy, you're not seeing anything because we can't show you anything live. You have to go to the official sources. We're just a watch along, right? So we're watching it from our subscriptions. I'm over there at at FlowTrack, and Anthony, you're over watching it at
I'm watching it on YouTube, but you need a VPN to watch it on YouTube.
mhm.
And another comment here on your screen for Jacko. First 100 this season, she did well. Another one with Jacko is in sub 11 form for 100. Sherika um, prep is gearing for world championships. We're hearing Go Go Jamaica. We hear Sherika one. We hear this person's reminding us that it's Flow Sports and Flow Sports and Rush Sports in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
And we heard someone here saying, I'm watching on iPlayer, and this goes to show big up. Um, I'm getting a big up there. So, and it goes to show that what we are doing here too, persons appreciate it. And we are really, really grateful that you have tuned in because there are persons here watching Vaughn and they're still watching it live and they're still
Yeah.
tuning to us. We had just over 600 people watching just now, dropped a little bit. but it goes to show that we are doing a good job.
I see my brother in Jamaica bigging you up, Anthony. Shout out to
Yes,
him.
yes. Thank you very much.
Let's see. So Frano, all in the game is saying that Frano wanted his athletes to peak in late June, specifically, and again at the World Championship in mid September.
Yeah. So Frano definitely this year for trials is going for 1, 2, 3,
Mhm.
4, 5, 6 maybe. Who knows?
if they would allow it, he would do it. Now, on my screen right now, they're showing Jacory Patterson, who has a very interesting story from the season.
Yes. So he's coming up now in the men's 400 meters.
And I haven't seen Quincy Hall, the Olympic champion. I think this is the first time I'm seeing him all season since the Olympics. To be honest, he might have ran some meets, but I never saw him. He has been pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You got Bryce Deadman on the screen, another one to watch out for. Blockberger, always working hard from Team USA in the Dory, another Botswanan there. Then from South Africa, we got Nene, his personal best 44.22 that he did this season. We got Scotch from Botswana as well. He's on the screen where I'm at. His season's best 45.36 with a personal best 44.54. Christela come back. We'll talk about that in a second. Then we got Morales Williams. I think he went to school in Arkansas a year ago and runs for Canada. His personal best 44.05. He has a weird running form, but it works for him, so we won't fight it. And we'll see what he does. And then we have El Bousserie. His personal best 46.09 and set this year 46.09 as his personal and season's best. So he's having a coming out year, so to speak, and he hopes to drop his time today.
And
Uh,
of course, let us watch out for Patterson. As I said, he has a story. I don't know if he's still working his full time job at UPS after that um, Grand Slam track performance in Miami. But let's
mhm.
see what he can do in this one. I think he is running out of. Is he in lane 6 or he's in lane 6 and he's off like a bullet on the back stretch based on the stagger. Patterson is leading, looking good, looking strong at the 200-meter mark, coming up on that final bend. He's a little bit behind though, and he's coming back. Let's see. He's running his way back, and this one is going to be close. And he comes back from maybe about 3 meters behind to take the victory in 44:37, the flash time for Patterson, the man that works at UPS for his full time job. Whether he works or he worked, I am not sure yet, but confirmed time is 44:37. So that is two big wins. Big win in Miramar, Florida. Now big win in Rabat.
Mhm.
Big win here for the man.
44.37. Nadori has a cramp or something going on with him. But Patterson is having a very interesting season, cashing a lot of checks and the like. 44.37. Nene seems to be second with 44.46. Quincy Hall, the Olympic champion, with a season's best 44.90. Deadman 44.97 in fourth. Morales Williams 45.16, a season's best. His season started slow. Blockberger 45.55. Scotch in seventh in 45.89 from Botswana. Looks like Nador doesn't get a finish, but El Busuri 46.47. Now, let's talk a little bit, Anthony. Taylor made his return yesterday, 45-66 in Jamaica for the win. And I do think that from a meet perspective, I think the heats were probably not set up properly because the times are so far apart, and Taylor looked like he was running by himself and still produced 45-66. I want to know what you guys feel in the chat room about Taylor's return. Is this coming to see? What did you feel about his run yesterday at the World Champs prep meet down in Kingston? I think it was a good run, but it still wasn't, like, to me, it wasn't the type of run that I expect from someone who's looking at a World Champs berth. But it is his first race for the past 2 years, for the past 2 seasons. So
Mhm.
I'll take that with a grain of salt, but I still have a little bit of reservations there. I mean, how you guys feel? That's how I feel about it.
He looked good, and as I said, and you would have mentioned, it's maybe a little bit harder to judge him the fact that he was running alone, but
All by himself.
he looked a bit relaxed to me,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks as if he had someone else there, maybe he could have gone sub 45, which would have make which would have been which would have
Made him
make
more.
a bigger statement, you know.
Yeah.
He'll be at the Racers Grand Prix in what, 2 weeks time,
Mm-hmm.
and now that we saw what he had in store, we can safely expect um a faster time at the Racers Grand Prix, which would put
Yeah.
him in a very good position to
Mhm.
come back after almost 2 years, or is it just over 2 years, and possibly win the national championship this year.
And we see Romain Beckford on my screen just crashing out in the high jump at 2.21. His season's best is 2.21 right now. Couldn't go over to the 2.25. Looks like he's going to finish probably in fifth place in the high jump. And he's a four-time All-American between USF and University of Arkansas. Looked like he aborted that jump somewhere in mid-air. Romain Beckford, the was it Buff Bay High graduate? Um, yeah, it looks like he's tied for fifth with McEwen. So that'll be it for him right there. Did Richardson run? No, Richardson did not run. And 44 low for back to the Chris Taylor. 44 low for Chris Taylor. I get it. He looked good, but I don't know if I'm going to give him a personal best right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, personal best maybe just a bit too much to ask for right now.
Because if I remember correctly, I'm not looking at his stats. His personal best was like a 44.74 or something like that. And I don't know if he's going to break that this season. Somebody help me out because I'm not afraid to say when I don't know it off my head, right? 44.7, I believe, is his personal best. And I'm not sure if he's going to drop to 44.2, which right now in the 400 seems to be a standard that you have to do to get into the final. So it's going to be a tough season. It's a first season. It's a World Champs year. I think next year you have off, and then the following year you come back with 25, 26, another World Champs, and then the Olympics. So really, the Olympics, which is where you get tested to see if you're really truly on top of the world. He has 3 more years, 3 seasons to do that, and by that time he'll be 28, 29.
Mhm.
So not calling down old age for the man, but we're gonna watch.
Mhm. Let's see. We have that Chris Taylor race. Well, actually, maybe the last 150 of that race. Let us
Yeah.
just take a quick look and see if we can. Let's take a quick look to see if we see anything else that we didn't picked up on before.
Facing some competition from feelings of Felix Sanchez Academy. Maybe not. The Christopher Taylor of Titan. Christopher Taylor of Titan. It's a flash time of 45.62. to run. An official time of 45.66. Christopher Taylor of Titans, and he is a Titan.
So good run, as note. He looked relaxed, and yes, 44.5 sub 4 is a new standard to get into that final. Um, but Anthony, with the rules of engagement in the sport, right? Chris Taylor definitely looked like he was training. But the question is, who, where, what was he training? Because there's rules around it. If you are suspended for, depends on the reason you're suspended, you might be limited to who you can train with, where you can train, and how much training you could actually get done, and who can train with you. So, that's a big question for me. Where was Taylor training in this time? Because he looked like he was training, maybe even having some good runoffs or time trials along the way, because he definitely looked like he was in some kind of shape, which is something we got to find out. No Rabat Diamond League. Yeah, we're on the Rabat Diamond League right now. Coming up next on screen is the 1500 meters. 1500 meters, that's going to have like 15 guys in there. We're going to see what they do. That's 3 3/4 around the track, just short of the mile, but we'll see what happens. But again, back to Christopher Taylor. He looked very good in the race. The second place finisher was 47, right? But with the 45.6 he ran from start to finish, you could see where he just got out and looked very composed. The backstretch, I think it looks like he even fixed the head rocking motion that he's always had.
I
So
saw, yeah, I saw a little bit of it.
uh
When he entered that straightaway, or he was entering that straightaway, you could see where the head, would have gone slightly to, was it to the left?
to the left or the right. Well, he had two
Mhm.
sides, one of the sides. I didn't see it that pronounced yesterday in from the clip, or even when I was watching yesterday. It doesn't look too bad, which definitely looks like something that they worked on during the offseason, during the season. His body looks stronger, right? If you watched him since he was like 15, 14 at Calabar, right? And when you look at him, yes, he's going to grow. But relative to the other athletes he was running against, he looked much, much smaller. Now he looks like he's right there where he needs to be physically. And with his form now, it looks like they cleaned it up a little bit. That's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens, because you have the likes of Javon Powell, who ran last week at the Adidas invite, the Adidas City Games in Atlanta. And you also have Javon Francis. I haven't heard much from Javon Francis talking about the Jamaican quarter milers. Hakeem Bloomfield, he retired. So is Chris Taylor the real deal to save the Jamaican men in the 400? That's a question I want to ask, the audience right now. You know, could be running the 200 and maybe the 100 at trials. So he's not running the 400. That's what you're saying, Lenny. Because I know he could run a good two. I'm not sure about the 100, but maybe that's why that 45.6 looks so relaxed, because he's worked on his speed during the whole time that he was gone. So I don't know. I don't have any ins to his training camp. So for me, it's still like the 100 and the 200. I don't know. His core
Well,
is
it
much
would be
stronger.
very, very interesting to see what ch- if he's to choose another event other than the
The
400.
400. Mhm.
You know,
And you have what's her name? I mean, Sydney McLaughlin is being talked to go down to the 100 hurdles. So is it crazy to watch Taylor go
you'll
down to the
definitely see her next weekend, and
100? Yeah.
that, yeah, you'll definitely see her next weekend, and that's going to be interesting too, because
Mhm.
as I heard the comment before, that don't expect her to win the 100-meter hurdles, but she'll be very dangerous in that 100. And of course, when I said dangerous in that 100, let me make it clear that that 100 will only have the runners from the hurdles and not the regular 100-meter sprinters.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. because remember how the Grand Slam track is set up,
Mhm.
where athletes are grouped, and that group is referred to as the short hurdles, and the
Right.
short hurdlers will compete against each other in the 100-meter hurdles, and those same hurdlers will face each other in the one in a special 100, and that is different from the short sprint that has the regular 100-meter sprinters and 200-meter sprinters.
But is the same thing happening for Dos Santos? Because they ran the long hurdles. Is he coming down to the short hurdles as well, or no?
No, no, because it's really up to the athletes and if they want to mix it up. We saw where Gabby mixed it up in Miami and Kingston, because in Kingston Gabby do the 2-4, and then in
Yeah.
Miami she came down to the 1-2,
Hmm.
and then I think in Philly she's sticking with the 1-2. Melissa Jefferson would have beat her in Miami over the 1-2, but she won the 2-4 group in Kingston. So she's sticking with that. And remember, some of these athletes are the racers themselves would have gotten a fairly good signing bonus, so
Mm.
they can afford to mix it up.
Now, here's an interesting question. Talking about mixing it up, Wayne Manning, his comment coming in, I think he should try the 100, 200, and 400, and also the relays. He is good in all these formats. We are missing in the 200 worldwide. I don't know, Wayne. I can't side with you on that because we're not talking about champs. We're talking about world champs, right? We're talking about people with a good talented field from the heats through the semis to the finals. So I don't know, Anthony. I don't know.
And Damien is saying he should run the 200, but if he is in excellent shape, he can try the 100. I don't know who is going to beat that one, to be honest with you, but the 200, I don't
Mhm.
think we are anywhere close to where we'd want to be in the men's 200 after the Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, and even Warren Weir era.
Correct, but Wayne is asking about running the 1, 2, and the 4. Good advice, bad advice. Block him from the chat. What are we talking?
And all in the game is saying Brian Level and Andre Hudson are still Jamaica's best 200-meter sprinters.
I haven't seen Hudson all season, unless he's somewhere I didn't see him. But I haven't seen Andre and Hudson all season.
Yeah. But we interesting days are ahead.
Hmm.
The men's 1500 as would have just
Been
finished running, and getting that results getting that result for you just now. um Action is still going on in the field. Women's high jump is still in progress. Well, men's high jump actually. Javon Harrison of USA is on the runway.
three 32.8 for season's best. So these guys are doing pretty good. Who else can beat Lavelle in the 200 this season? I'm not sure if anyone can beat Lavelle right now. Um, but we'll have to wait and see where it's at with those guys. Then we got Kateri for sixth with 332.94 season's best. So that's how the it ends right there for the 1500 meters with a world lead right now at 329.63. But we do have a meet record 331.43 by coach from the USA.
Harrison just failed at 228.
Mm. So he's going for it.
Hamish Carr also failed at 228. Or Kerr. So that's action in the men's high jump. And when I said just failed, my bad. I should have pointed out that Kerr failed on his second attempt,
Hmm.
and Harrison was on his first attempt. So Harrison still has a couple more jumps to go. And you would have mentioned earlier that Beckford um, may have finished fifth.
Yeah, he finished fifth. Season's best though, 2.21. And since his final season in the NCAA, he seems to have been having an issue going past his 223 personal best. So we'll hope this year would be his breakout year, get to that 225 or the 230 mark, which seems to be thin air up there.
Mm-hmm.
My results page is still not loading up. It it took.
Women's pole vault is going on, but of course, so far the big news where Jamaica is concerned is that Sherika Jackson had a season best, looked very relaxed, 11.04.
But also yesterday with a season's best um, was Brianna Williams.
Yes, that's maybe a little bit more than a season best, though. You know, glad to see Brianna coming back into her own.
I don't know if you have that race, but I was watching it, and it seemed like she had a false start. I don't know if you saw it, but it seemed like she had a false start. I'm watching with the naked eye, and I'm watching a video taken from the stands because I wasn't in that meet in Clearwater. But it looked like she had a false start, and she ran 11.08. I'm not sure what the wind was. I think it was a legal wind, if anything. But 11.08. That too is also a good season opener if that was legit in terms of it not being an official false start. She started because if you watch the video right before the gun goes, you see that right leg leave the pad. But because you're not using the blocks that have the sensors, somebody could run off if you're not using that system. So, what do you think are her chances with the Clayton twins coming on board? Because the Clayton twins, they've ran what 1092 and the 11 something. What are their chances right there?
Mhm.
No, we got Jackson showing her hand with 1104 and Brianna with 1108.
And just before we get into that, the women's 3,000 is getting ready for action, and just want to let fans know what we have left on this program. And this program means the Rabat Diamond League. We have been having difficulties with the results page, not only today, but I think throughout the Diamond League season so far, where the results pages have become more and more difficult to load, especially when the meet is going on, and that is a difficult we're having. So let's see. Also, we have 4 events to go. Um, so the women's 3,000 is on track now. Then after which we'll have the men's 200, the women's 800, and then the men's 3,000 meters steeplechase. But your question was, what do we expect at trials? And of course, with you
Yeah.
mentioned with the Clayton twins and Brianna and Shelly and Sharika, it goes to show that maybe for the first time in a very long time, it can be it's more competitive this year than we
Okay.
would have seen in the past three, not in the past 3 years.
Mhm.
That probably would have seen um maybe in the last what 12, 15 years,
Mhm.
because Shelly would have came on the scene and made a name for herself in 2008.
Right.
And then from there, it was all Shelly. It was all Shelly. Coming to trials, it was all Shelly. Then it came down to Sharika Jackson a few years ago.
Mhm.
Then, Shelly is not on top of her game as we speak. Sharika is not on top of her game as we speak. But we say not on top of their game because trials is still maybe exactly a month away.
Right.
And maybe they are not peaking the way, you know, one would have wanted to see. And when I say one would have wanted to see, I mean the fans out there watching.
Mhm.
Um, I'm sure these ladies are, experienced enough. They
Mhm.
have coaches who are guiding them. And maybe you just can't watch or take serious or take the performances they are giving us now as anything to go by,
Mhm.
because they still have, as I said, maybe a few more weeks to get ready. We saw Sharika today, as if she was under no pressure. She was so relaxed. She wasn't
Mhm.
trying to force anything. She wasn't trying to push in it, as if she was like, hey, I don't even have to go all out to win this one. Or it's not even about winning, but really to finish a race, get another race under my belt and finish healthy. So trials this
Mhm.
year, I think, we may think the Clayton twins are the favorites, but it's going to be very, very competitive for that women's 100. I always say to people, as
Tell me.
long as Shelly faces a start, as long as Shelly turns up for that start, it means she's
And it
ready.
All right. So we talk about Brianna Williams looking good. You talk about Tia and Tina Clayton looking good. You also have Brianna Liston, might be questionable, not sure where she's at, right? Now, that's four sprinters coming in. But outgoing, quote unquote, is Shelly, Elaine, and Sherika, right? 4 and 3. That's 7 ladies right now. Question, Anthony. Question to the room. Wayne, Sherry, Damien, all in. Let me ask you guys this: is it a clean break of the talent from Sherika and Elaine and Shelly over to these younger ladies? Or will there still be like a mix and match, especially if it comes down to the 4x1 finals? Will it be a Tia, Brianna, or will you have a Jackson in there and a Shelly Fraser in there as well? How do you guys see it playing out at the trials? Is the top four going to be the young guns who are doing it in the transition, or is it going to be like a mixture? That's one of the things I want to know from you guys. What do you guys think? Because we've always seemed to have like a clean break, right? From VCB to Shelly to um, Elaine, then Sherika to Elaine. I don't remember which one came first, but it always seemed to have been like a clean break. How do you think this break will be this time around? That's the question. Because Jamaica does have some ladies loaded talent, and maybe some other ladies that we haven't, spoke of their names. Like back in what 2001 when Taylor Lawrence just showed up in Jamaica and made the Olympic team, and people were like, "Who is that girl from Lane 8?" Right? Do we have anyone like that on the fringes that I don't know about that someone could enlighten me on? Because Sherika looked good today, but day before yesterday or yesterday when she ran wasn't so appealing. And then we haven't really seen Shelly ran. She's ran like one race. And then we also haven't seen much from Brianna Liston. But what kind of transition do you think is going to happen there, Anthony? Crystal Slowly. Yep, that's the name I was trying to remember. Slowly. Erica is saying that Tia is the one to beat at this time. And it's funny because it was Tina at one point. Now it's Tia. How that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But what they have for seed still? What they have for seed? So Damien thinks
Yes,
it's going to be a smooth transition.
we are. And Sherry Brown is saying Tina, Tia, then Sharika. That's her top three. These girls are coming for the big guns. We love Shelly nevertheless, and Brianna not running bad at all. And I'm just sliding through some of these comments. Wayne is asking, what about Thompson Hera? Two-time Olympic sprint double champion. Not sprint double champion, but because she didn't win the last Olympic, but two-time Olympic sprint double gold medalist. Yeah. Champion really refer to the reigning champion. Sherika Jackson was not running hard, so arms was pump. So those arms was pumping. Just rolling through some of the comments. I love Morocco.
Here's an
Don't
event.
forget Christians. Crystal Slowly. Very smooth transition. I don't know if that was referring to
The young guns taking
Sherika's
over.
run.
No, they're responding to what I was saying, asking the question, is the changeover from Sherika and Elaine going to be smooth to the Claytons and the Williams and the Lister, or is it going to be mixed up? So Damon is saying it's going to be smooth. Meanwhile, Yvette is saying it's going to be a mix and match. Bell must also say a mix and match because besides Tia is the only one battle tested, while Tina from Objectivity is saying that Tina seems to be having the season that Tia had last year.
Well, Tina seems to be having the season that Tia had last year. I think Tia would have been 2 good seasons because Tia was the one. Tia made the Olympic team last year, got into the Olympic final. Tina wasn't in the mix last year because I understand she was recovering from injuries and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it's right to say that Tina is having the season Tia had last year because Tina ran yesterday in Kingston and she ran a little bit slower than she ran last week at that Doha Diamond League. Reed Jamaica female athletes who is yet to run in 2025. Where's Elaine? Where's Kevona? Where's Lanae? Where's Janique? Where's Sharoki? Where's Janelle? Well,
it could be said Janelle is getting married. So.
Where's Kiara? What's going on with the bad 2025? With the bad 25 form of Candice and Kemba. Wow. Hope we see all of them at trials.
I don't think we'll see. I don't think we'll see Kevona or what's her name or Janelle at trials running. I just don't see it. But from the 3,000, Chibet just won in a world lead in 8:11.56. But yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't seen Cherokee. I haven't seen any of those ladies yet. I'm not sure what to expect from Elaine. Word on the streets is that she now trains in Florida, somewhere in mid Florida or North Florida, thereabout.
Or in Italy, who knows?
Japan, Australia, because Australia is coming big in sprints. I don't know what happened in Australia, but something's going on there. But I don't know where she is. I don't know where Elaine is right now. Haven't seen anything from Kevona. Janique Brown, I would say haven't seen her. Cherokee, maybe she's moved on in life as well from track. I don't know, because the thing about it, when you get out of college, there isn't much more support for you. So it's really difficult to keep going, because you don't have the training facility at your fingertips. You don't have access to the doctors at your fingertips. There's a lot of things you don't have anymore. So stopping, moving, changing what you're doing in your life is a pretty normal charter for these athletes. But
Mhm.
but I haven't seen them in any meets. The names haven't popped up in any low key meet, down the street from me or anything like that. So hard to tell what's going on. But I can tell you, Janelle is probably going to be married by then, because she's on like the cover of a big old magazine. She and Noah with their nuptials announcements. I know some people are mad, but I'm happy for them, man. Happy for them. Alfred will
And
be hard.
Julian Alfred is the one to beat. Olympic champion in the 100, Olympic silver medalist in the 200.
What I like with Julian is that she just comes to work and she has fun, but once that gun goes, once it's warm up time, once it's meet day, that's a tough cookie to crack. And I think that was something that she had built up from her days at St. Catherine, and then once she started working with Coach Florio, it just continued. So shout out to Julian. Um, Eric Parks is not being nice. He said the door is wide open with these pedestrian times. Wow. Ouch. You're scorching them, man. Scorching them. Julian is very hard to beat, training over 300 meters. She probably has to do that because she saw where she faltered in that 200 meters last year, where she finished second. So, Belmoose is saying that I believe Cherokee is on the list at the Grand Prix. Okay, I guess we'll see her there. And yes, congratulations to Chabet with that meet record 8:11. So shout outs. Let's see. Favor of Feely just ran an impressive 15.85 in the 150. The 150 to 300s, these events are off. They're not actual distant race events, and sometimes it's really difficult to judge where an athlete is in these events. To like spatially think, okay, if they ran a 32 300, does that mean 40 whatever seconds in the 400? Sometimes it's very hard. So you don't really take it as a foot out distance to convert. Shakira Richards will defend her title, no problem. All right. Well, let's see what Shakira comes with, because she looks thinner, much thinner. She looked markedly thinner, and her personality that's coming out in the media looks a lot different than the previous years. Previous years, she seemed extremely abrasive towards the comment section, but now she looks like she's giving everybody hugs and smiles and candy. So we'll see how she performs when it's time for her to come out, because she looked a little flat in that race where she finished fourth. She looked a little flat, but again, did the weight loss do anything, or is it a part of the training of their new thing?
And objectivity is telling us that, by the way, Tina ran yesterday was under instruction. Just go watch the race and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Talk to me about these instructions, people, because I keep hearing it, Anthony. What does this mean when somebody said the athlete ran under instruction?
Coach told them just run the first 60, or, I just want you to push, or I want you to um, get into that dry phase a little earlier or a little later. I don't know,
Hmm.
you know.
I don't know. I have I've ran, I've coached, and I've been around it for years. Maybe not at the professional level, to be quite honest, but I have never heard a coach or athlete say, just run the first part of this and then don't worry about the rest. I've never heard it. And even if it's a set, it's like, okay, when you're in the race, you keep going. I've never seen that, never heard it, and seen it follow through like that. Is it just something that, Frana does with his athletes, or Mills, or, whoever else is there down in Jamaica training the athletes? Is that just a Jamaican thing or what?
It's a very good question.
It doesn't, because all right, let me tell you something, Anthony. When I was running in college, and even in high school, when I was running, I just never saw where any coach would say this. And in my head, I'm like, if coach told me I have a 600 to run, and coach said just run the 400, that doesn't happen, right? And even in practice, they would say, if you're running a 500, because I ran the 400 hurdles, if you run the 500 in practice, they would say the first 400, I need you to come through at 47 seconds and just hold on for dear life. I've never heard just run 47 and then just whatever. So I just don't see it being, elite coaches do that. Okay. Maybe they do. But I have friends who are elite coaches, and I can't recall any of them ever saying, or have we ever having a discussion that, yeah, just run the first part of the race and chill. I've heard of working on certain parts of the race in the race, right? But I've never heard of, in this 400, just focus on the first 200. In the 100 meters, just run the first 60. I've never seen.
Yeah. Let us see. Sharika Jackson. It was my first 100 since the Jamaica trials last year, June, and I am happy with the result. I am healthy, and that's the most important thing. I did a lot of stuff good, but there are a lot of things that I can improve. But it was a good race, so I leave this competition with only happy feelings. That's from Sharika Jackson. And I'm sharing on your screen flash quotes from Sibini, Omaniala, Anjanette Knight. Anjanette Knight said it was okay. There are still some things we need to work on. It's just a work in progress. I am happy with the season's best. I need to work on my whole setup, the race pattern, and stuff like that. And I still have it on the screen there for those who are interested to see it. So we're still waiting for the men's 200.
It's on track now, and it's saying that Tobago is DNS, did not start.
And maybe he, because he definitely didn't look good. So Curly is coming back.
I see him in lane 8. As results from the javelin on the screen, Vilagos taking that 61.90 meters. Then Zenko 61.62 with Van Dyke 59.25 meters for that discipline. All right, the men are on their marks right now in the 200 on my screen from Flow Track or Flow Sports. If you have the Flow Sports app, you get it. You'd also get the Continental Tour that was yesterday, and then we have some meets coming next week.
20:04 is the winning time for that men's 200 from the American Lindsay.
Always interesting to see how Fanboule runs, because I don't know, his style of running does not suit the elite running, because he comes back, he gives up too much in the first part. He gives up too much real estate in the first part, even in this race. 20.12.
Curly's out there in Curly's what in lane 7?
Yeah, it was in the out lane. I think 7 or 8. The wind is good. 0.4. Curly
You
took
can see
30.
Curly struggling a bit too. But he came back strong to finish third.
Yeah. 20.16 is time.
And Wade Van Niekerk was somewhere right there in the middle.
Yeah, he struggled since that injury to his knee. And that's what happens at that level. Once you get injured, it's difficult to come back at that high level. You're gonna run fast, but it's gonna be difficult for you to get back to being that beater, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That world record run had took everything out of him, man.
Yeah, I think you went into oxygen debt for like a good 3 months.
That run would have taken or probably would have affected his career. What was that? 4304 was it?
43-3.
4303.
Yeah. Now if somebody could run like a 43 flat, that'll be something to watch.
He was running out of lane 8.
Well, that's a good way to look at it, Eric. Curly took off a bit, yeah. Impressive doubling and hitting the podium twice, the proverbial podium. You always want to touch the podium, man. You always want to be on that podium.
Mm-hmm.
Photo finish with Curly slightly behind Fanboulet. But no doubt about Lindsay, your champion in 20.04. So do we have one more event on the sketch?
One more event to go. That's the
We got 800 meters.
800 and this 3000 steeplechase on men.
Yeah. On my side, on Flow Sports, they got English Gardner and Amisha Carter and Matthew Centrowitz talking about the meet. I'm not sure the name of the host of that podcast there. That I think they call it the Athletes Lounge. While we're over here at Track Alerts doing our own thing. All right, so the 800 meter. Natoya Gould will be running for Jamaica. She's sharing a lane with Halima Nakaya from Uganda. They're both going to be sharing lane number 7. And lane number 4 is also going to be doubled up with France's Bergeron and Sweden's Zuero. Lane 9 will also double up with Poles and South Africans. Lane 2 with Moroccans, the host nation, Raziki and Haji. They'll be represented in that event, doubled up. Coming up next, and then after that, we have the 3,000 meters steeplechase. But this is interesting, man. There's lots of fun here. Everybody has their own vibe about what's popping, what's not happening. We got some video here, got some pictures there.
Mm-hmm.
But the Jamaica's team selection, which happens in June, or I shouldn't say selection, the trials in June. I'm going to ask a stupid question. Do you think they should move the meet to a later time closer to the championships? Because that's a full July, August, that's a full 2.5 weeks to the World Championships.
2.5 months.
Yeah, sorry, 2.5 months. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they should. I don't think we should have stick with that June date.
Hmm.
But again, the powers that be believes that they're not going to move it. As to if it's good or bad for the athletes, we have to wait a little longer to see. But I think over the years, the Jamaica trials always use or keep that same date as the US trials. And
Right. We're always
my problem this time around is that the J Trails didn't even announce their date for trials until sometime January, February,
hmm
which means you were unsure whether you're going to go June or you're going to move.
hmm
And then it's going to affect some Jamaicans from earning in that lucrative Grand Slam track series.
so far Jamaican athletes have earned $335,000 between 9 of them, and Daniel with the lion's share of 100 grand. So that's big because there's two more legs, and I think it's the final leg in Los Angeles.
But are you talking when you say they have earned so far? You're talking from one meet?
No, between the two legs so far, the 9 Jamaicans that have competed, their total earnings is about 330 something thousand.
I,
And
I'm, it has to be more than that because Daniel was 100K in Kingston alone,
mm,
and Akira was 100K in Miami. That's 200K, and Akira would have
two,
gotten
two of
maybe
them got
40.
two of
So
them
the
got 50.
50
Uh,
where in
50
in
between the two meets. Two of them got 50. I think that's Seville. Seville got 50 the last one.
no, Daniel got 100K in Kingston. She
Yes.
won. She won the that race group, and
hmm
Akira got 100 in Miami, and Akira also earned maybe about at least 40 in Kingston. So right there between those two meets, two persons, two athletes would have gotten more than
240.
that figure you spoke about.
That's a 240.
And
No?
Civil had gotten about 50 twice.
Two times Seville get 50? It no matter
Um,
still. They might get some money and it gonna
yeah,
mash up the
yeah.
money. That's the point to I make. It gonna mash up their money in a for the last leg. Because the last leg in Los Angeles is where, this is the one that's gonna clash. You know, I, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because it's a bad vibe right through. Because one, the money mash up, and two, you still have 2 months, 2.5 months before the meet. And then there's a part in the J3A where you have to maintain fitness, right? And I mean, what better way to make sure the athletes maintain fitness than to do the meet close to the than to do the trials close to the actual meet, so they are what fit. You know what I'm saying? It's a bit of a crazy situation that the J3 has kind of put the athletes in, because either they come back tomorrow morning, or Tuesday morning after meeting Monday and say, hey, we're going to move the trials now to August. It now throws off people's training schedules, because you would expect some people to start their sharpening up process, because you can obviously see, like Sherika, from the first time she ran in Miramar this season, you can see that she's improving along the season. She's coming along. So what do we do?
So the women's 800 is on track, and they're coming into the final straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Maloney from St. Vincent and the Grenadines is somewhere right there in the mix. Natalia Gould trailing a bit, maybe um, off to a little bit too far off the pace, and would maybe finish maybe about seventh, eighth for Natalia Gould. And in this one, So that's completed the 800 for women, and you can see it took everything out of these athletes. 157.42 for Duguma, if that's the pronunciation. Duguma.
Sige Duguma. I'll go with Sige because
Duguma.
I don't know how to pronounce Sige.
So
I'm still waiting for them to finish on my screen. All right. Yep. We see the winner now. I see the winner now. I still haven't seen all the results though for the ladies.
no, they haven't showed that yet.
Mm-mm-mm. Oh yeah, Gould is yeah, she looked like she was like seventh or eighth, thereabout.
The the thing with Ghoul, unlike many others, she
Mm-hmm.
has time. And when I say she has time in terms of she don't face the pressure of trials like others. You know, once she meets a qualifying mark,
Mm-hmm.
then she will have nothing to worry about. I'm not seeing Ghoul's time yet on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
but Ghoul would not have that pressure of a trials because Jamaica don't have that many 800-meter runners that's going to get her out. So Ghoul can afford to keep herself fit and to work on what she wants to work on, knowing that hey, I don't have that pressure
Mm-hmm.
at trials.
Wait, Gould is
So
34 already? Gould cannot be 34. Already? Nah. I gotta search. I gotta Google that one, man. I gotta Google that one.
Ghoul has been around for a little while, man.
No, man.
Ghoul has been around for a little while.
I know she's been around, but 34 around? KMT, March 30,
Yeah.
1991. Wowzers. I thought she was like 30, 31. If that makes a difference. I didn't think she was 34. No, but all right, what's the point now? What's the point you just made? You just made the point that she already have the qualifying time and she don't have the pressure to make the time or make the team because nobody can beat her. But maybe it was more than 10 years ago. Kemar Campbell was the only one who had the qualifying time in the 5K, and they forced him to leave Arkansas to come down there for the trials to run all by himself. What that for? Me not understand the one day, Anthony. Me not understand that one the people. Them force the man who at the only qualifying time, the only Jamaican in the men's 5K to come at trials, and him have the qualifying time. Nobody else is even remotely close to him. I think when he finished the race, everybody else had a mile to go. That's how far he was, right? It might be exaggerated. But here we are recognizing that Gould can, chill a little bit, so to speak. Talk to me.
And I mean, chill in the sense that even if she has to run a trials,
Yeah,
um, you don't have you don't have two people. You don't
yeah,
have two people going to beat goal even on a bad day.
yeah. She could finish fifth for all she cares and still make the team because she has a qualifying time and she still has 2.5 months to get it together.
Mm-hmm.
You
A
know?
matter of fact, you're talking about 2.5 months. You're talking about from now until September. So she still can. She has the time to work on whatever she needs to work on.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking she will set herself up the right way.
Mm-hmm. But it's Team Jamaica, man.
Mm-hmm.
So Natoya has never finished higher than fifth in a World Champs or Olympics 800 final, which was back in 2022. Too many talented people like Keeley, a thing, Mary, Sige, Prudence. But Bobby Kersey does it all the time with Sydney running the first 800 hurdles, trying to use the Diamond League as practice. Okay, okay. You
US
say
men have 4 spots in both World Championship 100, 200 due to Noah Lyles. I'm thinking.
mm-hmm. So you get an extra.
Yeah, because Noah is defending champion in both the 1 and the 2. So that's
Good.
two buys.
Mm-hmm. And then you get your extra three.
Hmm.
Some people say that they didn't move it because of college athletes and the NCAA season. I don't think the NCAA season has anything to do with it. Because I mean you have half the season.
NCAA season has nothing at all to do with it.
Yeah, because NCs I believe is what next week. Division one is next week or this
Ye-
weekend coming up.
Not next week. I think it's going to be the following week.
Yeah, so that'll be done by the first week of June. Yeah, the first week of June, NCAA's will be done. So in 2 weeks, NCAA's will be done.
Hmm.
So that I don't see that as being a reason to keep it there because they can easily come off that program and reset, take a couple weeks of active training, I mean active rest, so to speak, and then hit it again to ramp it up. You start that ramping up process once June is done. You go back to July and August after making the team.
Hmm.
So I don't know that would have been a factor. I just think, as a Virgin said, Jamaicans be Jamaicaning. I think that's what a J3 is doing because I think it would make sense if you want the athletes to maintain fitness. Because the thing about Jamaica is you can make a team this month and in 6 weeks later, you're not in shape. They're not going to take you, right? That happens over and over. They're not going to take you. So why not just move the trials closer to the meet where everybody would be in shape for that trials?
Hmm.
Instead of taking that chance. Because even sometimes the way the team is set up, you don't really know if you're actually on the team. You might have filled out the form at the end of trials. You fill out the form, you get your t-shirt size, your uniform size, etc., where you're flying from and so forth. But then what happens if you're not called for the team? Do you keep training hoping that you get called for the team? And if you made the team and you fall off a little bit, it's just too much in the works. It creates too much confusion. So I'm gonna leave it right there. I know we got some more meets coming up this weekend too.
Yeah, we have some very nice meets coming up. So we just hope that we are getting where we should be.
Hmm.
My feed is a little bit lagging because it's lagging between the field events and the track. But the men's 3,000 meter steeplechase, the final event on the program, our final track event on the program, is on. And but the big news for today so far, and I have to say the big news where Jamaica is concerned, is that Sherika Jackson ran a season best 11.04.
Hmm.
And if you look closely, Vaughn, you can see that Rizzo, who beat Shakari in
Oh gosh,
a week ago,
that don't look good.
she closed the gate. Otto Bolden would have said finished dead last
That
in
don't look good.
11:43. But then that 11:43 she ran is not far from what she ran last week to beat
To
Shakari
be,
Richardson. I think she ran 11:3 last week.
I guess it's within reason then.
Yes. So it's not far off of what she ran last week. But just reminding you that the big news, you know, is Sherika Jackson running a season best time,
Mm-hmm.
which means with exactly 1 month to go before the Jamaica trials, she seems to be in good shape. Good shape. Because
Mm-hmm.
remember, she's been coached by one of the world's best coaches.
You can't lose to that man right there. Now, question came across. Objectivity was asking who will be training all those college athletes for the extra month after NCAA. Um, Typically, what I saw was after trials. If let's say you made a team and you're with a collegiate team, you actually either go back to your school and you practice, or you stay in Jamaica and practice with a club that you're affiliated. And when I say club affiliation, I mean you have a relationship with the coach, so you're not really a professional athlete with them. You just train with them, and that's totally fine.
But I
But
tell you this though, Van,
mhm,
normally after trials,
yeah,
there may be no other athletes or coaches, senior team coach that will be in Jamaica because immediately after trials, MVP, the Sprint Tech,
hmm,
those teams, maybe racers will be heading off to Europe. And
hmm,
that's and that is one of the things. A lot of these teams or groups would
hmm,
have already made plans that hey, we're going to go into Europe the first week of July.
to
And
try,
that
yeah,
may be one of the things why the J Trades was pressured
to keep it
into having trials on
weekend.
that
That's
particular weekend. Because I remember an article in the newspaper a few months ago, maybe about February or thereabout, where
mm-hmm,
Stephen Francis was saying it is best to keep the date for trials because the athletes who would have finished at the NCAAs, they
hmm,
would be on peak form at that particular time because
hmm,
NCAAs may finish about 2 weeks the most before the Jamaica trials, and they would
right,
have been on peak. And it's not
hmm,
going to be easy, especially with a country like Jamaica. Frana was saying that still has to depend on NCAA's athletes, unlike the US that has 100 more athletes to choose from. That you don't want them to peak for NC the second week of June. You're gonna have to take them down back and get them to peak the end of July again for Jamaica trials.
but they still have to unpeak, so to speak, if they're trying to make the team for September.
Well,
Because ideally, I
yes,
would
but
August
at
when the
least at least
train.
what he was saying is that you would hold that you will hold that NCAA's peak for the next
Mhm,
2 week for trials. But if you were to go back down because
mhm,
trials is going to be the end of July, and
mhm,
then to peak back again for trials for the end of July, and the World Championships is going to be what, the second week of September. Maybe again you're probably about what, another um August, September, another 6 weeks again to the World Championships after the for even in the case of the US trials. But then again, the only persons you're seeing peaking now for the US is those athletes who are in the who are taking part in Grand Slam track. Those are the
right.
only persons speaking now for the US.
But and that's what I'm saying. I don't think that reasoning is valid from my perspective because the athlete still has to peak for September. So that's why I say the prudent thing would have been to just move the meet to August, where you come off your NCAA's, you come off your Grand Slam track, and then you work your way. You got to come down a little bit, and then you work your way into the trials for August. I think that's a much better setup than this whole idea. And I think I just whoever made up that idea about it, I don't think it's accurate. the college kids will have their coaches. Their coaches will be available to them during the summertime. It's not a problem because the coaches work at the school all day every day. So those coaches don't abandon their athletes even if they graduate and they have access to the facilities. They will be able to use those facilities. But I don't think that's a reason. That's a I don't see it as being a valid reason why the keeping the meets, because in effect half the team is made up of athletes who train in Jamaica. The other half come from outside the country. So doing it for one, you're still affecting the other. It's better to just move the entire thing towards later in the season where you have to be in shape. Because either way you look at it, you have to be in shape. So make it closer to that date where being in shape really matters. That's what that's how I say it. That's how I see it. Because it makes no sense to do it in June, either for the local athletes or the athletes who train outside the country. It makes no sense for it. It doesn't make sense. You could say I have the answer, but it doesn't make any sense. As a it doesn't make any sense.
Yes, as I said, we are still watching, discussing with viewers. The Rabat Diamond League is in progress. We are on to the final event on the program, which is the men's 3,000-meter steeplechase. And after this, of course, we're going to wrap up our coverage, and our coverage should be wrapping up in, that's a bell lap now we're on, so our coverage should be wrapping up in another few minutes. We really appreciate our viewers. We really appreciate those who comment, those who spend the time with us here. We really, really, truly appreciate it. And for those who have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to our channel, like, share, comment as you have been doing, and we're sharing your comments on the screen. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Dan Patrick is saying Jamaica's 100-meter female final hot. Number one, Sharika Jackson, 2, Tia Clayton, 3, SAFP. That is Shelly Ann Fraser Price. 4, Tina Clayton. 5, Brianna Liston. 6, Natasha Morrison. 7th, Alana Reed. 8, Brianna Williams. That's a good one, Patrick. Good one. So, we continue to read most of your comments. We continue to share them on the screen for others who may have not seen it before. They will see it on the screen. It is Rabat Diamond League Watchalong, and we really, really want to do this every time we have one of these. And objectively is saying, coach, you should read the chat. You will have the answers. So, we are going through some of the chats. We have to be doing different things. We have to be pulling the results, trying to get it on the screen for you. And, that is why some of the times we may miss, a few things in the chat. But we really, really appreciate you guys for staying with us, over 300 strong. It means that, you people, like or love what we are doing, and we enjoy it more, to be able to bring it to you, the women's 800-meter there on your screen. And as we said before, the men's 3,000-meter steeplechase is wrapping up.
This conversation here, Anthony, is really interesting regarding the coaching. Athletes will have their option of coaches when they leave their colleges, right? And even if they're still in college, I have never met a coach who has said, "You've made your team for Japan. I'm done with you for the summer." When that athlete is looking to represent that country in Berlin or wherever the meet is, right? Because there's something special about an athlete and a coach relationship at a school where they can put on their board in their Hall of Fame and so forth that this athlete went to the Olympics, the world champs, to wherever, right? Coaches, I've never met a coach who says, okay, it's over. Have a good day. That's up to you if you want to leave, but your coach will never turn your back on you. And there's
No.
a reason why my name is Coach Vaughn. There's a reason why my name is the coaches never. NCAA coaches do not quote unquote use the athletes and spit them out. No, they're there for their development. So, once the summer hits, yeah, if you want to train, you can work something out with the coach because the coach is at the school. They still have to
Mm-hmm.
go to the school.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just run away during the summer. They go back and check in. So that's that. And it's half the team, man. Let's do it.
And this
No,
the
but yeah,
steeplechase
I
is out
enjoyed
of the
it.
way now.
Hmm.
And what we
They're
have
running around.
here, a new world lead.
Mm-mm-mm.
Also, yeah,
Here we
this
are.
seems to be a good one. Yeah, because this is a homeboy victory.
Yeah. He's doing that 6 minute, 6 mile victory lap right now. They got the flag. That's the beauty of the sport, man. I love it. The stadium is packed, enjoying the atmosphere. See?
Beautiful
Nice.
stadium, Van.
Yeah.
Beautiful stadium. And I've heard it before in the comment that this is a beautiful stadium. And and I have to try and show what we're talking about the beauty of this stadium. And before I sign out, I would have shown what it looks like in the sun or in the light. And this is what it looks like in broad daylight. And how about showing you what it looks like
At
in
night.
the dark? Beautiful stadium.
At that beautiful
Thank
stadium.
you very much, Vaughn, for joining me. And I hope we'll be able to do this again. And for all the followers, for all the viewers, we really appreciate the time you spent with us. It was amazing. It was an amazing event. Sherika Jackson running her first 100 meters of the season, winning the Rabat Diamond League in a new season best. Well, it's not a new season best. I don't know why I'm saying that because it's her first,
Yeah.
but she ran 11:04 and she did not go too hard. She feels as if she's working herself back for the right time. And the right time, the first goal will be Jamaican trials, the final weekend of June. Again, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you whenever we do this again with our next Diamond League watch along. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.